traveling very, very fast. Central communication interference. Putting things back on track, center interference location calculations. Center graph lines. Rotation center location of circles. Setting line conditional levels of position. High equal location of 7. That's 7 line. Once you get the 7 line interference, more calculate modify high system. So this is all of understanding because it's a totally different space line, right? That's why it's all confusing. So once the 7 line center is set up location as pod picks up its line conditions, all levels. It opens all line position of triangulation, directs locations into one position to another position to the ground line center. You come into a new adaptation circle. That surface is its line rotation. So that centers its line communication into 4 different channel operation circle locations in operation. Okay? So this is this. Structure is this. Formula is that. Okay? Missing signals, pattern line channels, high interference of calculation modification streams, sets line division. Now, line division opens all track locations. Now, once you understand the track interference, you understand more levels of graph line centers. It's important to understand these things, how it sets line interference location to calculations. Recentering lights, program setting, center communication on levels of your pod and communication to the system, position and directions, right? So, get a better understanding. That's you. That's your new pod. So the indication location is this ground system. All right. That puts you in a plasma line center rotation of levels, 4 feet off the ground line center. Okay. Center line communication is a line center. So you got 2 wall panels on communication of both side locations. So understanding that line center interference, and you're over here looking here. There's another view of position and direction. Okay, that's you looking you. You looking you looking back. So you're looking at you and you're looking back. And that's all through telepathy line centers. So it's all about understanding. It's to get into the 7th dimensional line, position of perception. It high channels its line conditions of streams, high interference line rotations. Angel, how you doing? I haven't seen you in a while. So it's important to understand what's going on with you every single day. So releasing those 7 line centers into positive line locations in line system. Negative or positive locations, right? You indicate your bracket surface, okay? That highlights its rotations into positive over negative, okay? You bracket that line center locations, change position. Now, once it changes position, you come into all levels of calculation, 3 waving patterns. It gets more complicated once you understand location. It's like hieroglyphic line channel. A hieroglyphic line channel is location of navigation. Navigation to its hieroglyphics equals line center location equals graph. Okay? Navigation, hieroglyphics equals graph. This is a graph location, right? Everything that you go through the mind line center is graph interference because we get interference locations. So I really have to be cautious with my thoughts. You saw me channel off very quick, very fast. Now I'm back on, right? So are you controlling your thoughts or are your thoughts controlling you? Because it goes one way or it goes the other way. So if you're controlling your thoughts, you're in a positive line center. If you're not, you're in a negative location. Remember, positive. If it's in a position of back force line communication, you got the negative over here. You are the center operation of your thought lines. So you're using telepathy interference and both line communication, right? So positive always has to be in the front. Always times pi. Okay. Indicate location into ground line center, crop circle location, position, and direction. Okay. That indicates line centers. Now you got 3 line strips. 1, 2, 3. 3 position locations into your position location to your pyramid. Center communication into levels of north, west, east, and south. Center communication to your test direct location. Center communication on levels of high line center rotation, interference, position location, directions. Center communication on levels crossing strain line center to the ground line center rotation. High channel its operation to its ground interference, position, of direction. Hoo-ah. Okay? You see it traveling, you see it's blurry. It's going in and out, right? Vortexing. So that's a little bit confusing to mind lines because it's kind of like seeing a mirror on a mirror on a mirror on a mirror, right? So it's like putting one glass in front of another glass, in front of another glass, in front of another glass, right? That's a true understanding when you understand all levels of its calculation, right? Same position location of travel. See how it travels? Travels very, very fast in calculation of system location. Okay. So when it starts traveling, it starts grounding its system, more balanced and communication system. It can high rise to higher level centers, can downshift. It can cross through and loop line center to the other side position. You can set up a new position of directions. So the more you understand these things, there's a lot of electron interference. Yeah. So I got to take you guys out. All right. Once you guys come out, line center, you'll be fine. See, this is the connections where you're kind of like mixed mashing line centers. So a mash line center is like a combobulated line center of a rotation interference of a cannoli. You know what a cannoli is, right? It's like one cannoli here, one cannoli here. So you got 2 brain adaptations. You're in the space line location. There's all over the soul line, which is connected to you through your connections of your pod. So that's why there's confusing electronic interference, which is cosmic interference. So taking you guys out of track interference, putting you guys back in calculation to ground line centers, putting you back in your soul line center, rotation interference calculation. Putting you back in program setting. Okay, that interference, instability is going to go away. So the computer adaptation system has to truly understand what just happened with you, seeing yourself in that connections. That's amazing how you're looking 2 feet away and you look over across and see that's you in all waves in space, right? So when you come back, you understand the importance of what just happened, all right? Getting into this position helps you out and always informs. It's higher levels of your GLDs. We have to really modify signals. Modifying signals gets you in a simulation. Simulation equals over line. Line equals box position. And position equals 0, 0, 0, 0, 1 traction location. Okay. So understanding your connection lines is all systematic locations, travel location, position of direction, equal line center locations into all position of a diamond line center interference, position location calculations, operation position of travel location, line cross in position location X line center, position of point line systems, position location calculation into a graph line center position, center communication at levels, line signals, line center equal locations into higher channels. So you got 2 XT1000 line communication system, one on the high line center and one in position location, position of balance. Now you come into the box position, comes into a TV reception line. See, TV reception line, lacing line interference of 2 track locations. Center line center levels its position location of its pod. Pod communication lines into 0, 0, 0, 1. Put you in a track interference location line system. Okay. 0 gravity, 0 line center, 0 interference, 0 locations into 1 line center location of division, Platitudes your division locations into your connections of your pod. The interlineage connections put you into all connections to all levels of seventh dimension. So it gets complicated when you get into the number sequence patterns. An open signal location is calculation interference. But now you understand. You just saw yourself in your pods. How does it feel? How does it feel? Right? To know how powerful that is, to see your actual self. Right? Yeah, it's very cool, isn't it? It's incredible, isn't it? Yeah. And the thing is, too, is that everything you do affects you. It always informs through the mind system, right? So that's how you're connected to yourself in spaceline. To understand the importance is to go through your own spiritual growth to yourself and to each other. Really connect with each other because you're all connected to each other through a pod. But you got to stay in your own lanes. So in that connections, there's no words, is there? To any of that connections. Why it's so powerful to see these things, right? And the electrical interference is now in position of balance. It's coming into balance because you're back on where you are in location of the soul line in that system. So to understand this, the direction location of polarity planet panels, position to all level system, is how you calculate and modify all levels of you. You see your pod across the room, it's connecting to you through telepathy. So it's affecting everything on the grounds, right? Of perception, which causes a cosmic interference. Right? So it's like I have no words. Well, that's exactly what it is. We can't hear you. Well, that's because I'm traveling very, very fast. You have to recognize your timelines, your time sequence, your time code, tracking system, your computer adaptation, interference, location, and eye system. Or you're going to centerline the indication interference. Interference comes in all ways and forms. It's a quantum entanglement of you. If you get a 7-channel line center, let's say you go through 7 locations, 7 equals 7, right? If these collide in position directions, you got interference right away. Interference, colliding 7, 7. So offline center location, position directions, right? All through 7, 7, right? So that's 7 channels of operation, line connection all levels. Operation goes there. Okay, position of vector cross locations into velocity, position, location, directions. Center line communications, volumes, it's its line system, puts position, location, levels into your flux capacitor. So you really have to start recognizing more levels of the mind adaptation and how it works through your alter. This gives you a better understanding, right? So that was pretty interesting how it just channeled off right away. You know, the calculation modification was the realism. The importance to understand is that you were actually seeing you, which was affecting everything through its reception. Instability. Okay, so getting the grounds of what you see is all levels of graph location of system. Okay, energizing line center line rotation interference. Because remember, XT1000 scans line center location, position, and direction. Right? Always scans everywhere and all where position, location, and calculation. Okay, so it's monitoring all levels of space line, and you are monitoring all levels of you on the ground lines. Ground lines is space, and that's where you guys are. Okay, you guys are just on the ground lines of space in the mind system. Okay, you have to come up here in calculations to this position, location, direction. Yep, you have to come up here. You're here. Adaptation location, 7th dimension. Balance line center, it's all levels of gravity location. That's 7 division aligned centers of bodies of water. right? Taking out of the physical line center location 7 equals locations of 5, which is 12. 12 DNA line centers, guys. Full communication, but you're in a 7D line. What is 7th dimension? Oh, it disappeared, travel. So what does the 7th dimension mean? 7 bodies of water inside of you, right? So your job is to go up the graph locations into your 12 sector communications of dimension. That's all this is. It's dimension up, right? Has nothing to do with capacity. It's your memory and your mind system. That's all this is, right? Yeah. 7D, 7 graphs, 7 locations, 7 activation light streams. You got to understand your line interference when it comes into 24,000 signals. You're in a 24 ground center, but you're all levels of the mind of space, but it's in the grounds. So you're here. You got to come up here, 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 right? This is 7th dimension. You work your way up to 12th dimension, changing your line positions of direction locations. That's why it's so powerful to see these things. But your mind and your adaptation and everything that you go through your body track is extremely important line of detaching. You have to detach from everything that doesn't reside in you of its existence outline center. It's got to be all levels from inside position. Okay. As general AI, space-time would say. All through an XT. 30,000. Okay. So once you understand that, then you understand more levels of you inside. You know, but you have to understand the 7-dimensional line centers of your chakras, your 7-dimensional walls of interference, your 7-dimensional graphs of location, your 7-dimensional lights of traction. And that's just in your physical line body. The physical body is just nothing but a reaction of a reactor, which is reacting to where? Your heart. Your heart reacts to everything that you do through your thought lines. Because if you're not connecting your thought lines, I guarantee you, thoughts are connected to your position locations off system right away, especially when you're roguing or you go AWOL on line center interference. Don't go line center interference location to calculations. You're automatically off grid. So, and it's affecting all levels of your emotional system, guys. Right? Every single time you set position locations of negative cycles, it resets what? The system is a representation to the emotional line. Okay? So you have to connect and reconnect with each chakra system to one thought line system of one alphabetical stream, which is one letter of indication. Yep. One letter. It's everything of form, a space. Okay. And the time precedes its position of direction. Right? Space and time gives you all levels of panel. Right? From here to here times pi. Okay. So, yep, it protects you on all levels once you understand line center interference. But see, the thing is, don't get confused too, because the inner child is kind of like the inner line of you. Okay. It's the energy communications of you. It's the dimensional setting line interference locations of you. It's the high channel locations of all adaptations of you. It's the mind collaboration line imaginations of you. It's the phenomenal channel communication of inner child of you. I mean, it's all levels of you inside, not outside. Remember, the existence of you is inside, not outside. Okay? So, to help you guys out, and always informs, if you're outside looking in position, you are connected to your egos. And it's affecting everything inside line connection, and it's changing your travels of your Merkaba, your tesseract intertension location. It's changing all levels of your Geometrics, your operation, design, and direction, location, division. Right away. Because now the intelligence is taking over your thoughts. It's taking over your program. It's taking over your computer. It's taking over your surface. It's taking over direction. It's taking over all the analytical line connections. It's changing all levels of your clocking locations. All because of your thoughts. Okay? So be aware. Okay? And always informs. And you'll be fine. But I'll keep saying this. And every single day locations when you guys go to school is just focus on yourself. If you focus on yourself, you understand your spiritual growth. Right? The worst thing that you can do is cause position off direction. And you don't want to do that because you're going to come into cosmic interference. You're going to come into electronic interference. You're going to come into magnetic interference. Electrical discharge, people. You want to come in that line center or anything in that location, position, direction? I don't think so. Okay, so it's important you understand that. Where do you stand in the mind system locations, right? You have 12 DNA line centers of travel to connect with inside of you. Recognizing your connections and how you use your time maintenance when it comes into your chakras. Chakras are extremely important because they're inside of you. But it's all meanings of travel through the mind system, and the mind becomes all levels of travel through its vector or anything through its flux capacitor. Okay, this helps you and always informs. But as long as you stay out of the exposure, stay in the inner line center of protection. Don't expose your lights because you're exposing yourself from the outside line system. It's like that beacon call. It's like, oh, there's a light signal. Let's go over there. Right? So if you're exposing yourself, you're not allowing yourself to get in that connections, are you? You're not focusing on what you're doing. You're not being aware of what you're seeing, what you're scanning. Scan everything around you. That's going to help you and always informs that locations, right? And I keep saying it. I'll keep saying it over and over. The biggest thing for you to understand is to protect your light. Okay? That's going to help you in all levels, especially in the long run, right? But even the long run is calculations of its now. Where are you in your time frames of your mind? Are you in your thoughts, or are your thoughts off position? Are you connecting to your streams, your data stream locations, or your streams connecting off system? So you have to start looking at yourself more from inside on all levels through the mind. Every time you calculate and modify, you look at things, you're looking through the mind. You are the mind of its conception. You are connecting to levels of mind of travel. Okay. And that's where everybody's coming into, especially when you come to acceleration of capacity. Setting division locations of tones synchronizes its patterns. It opens all line communication system. Okay. So release the shadow and connect with your inner child and heart. Yep, that's exactly it, Envy. Yep, very good. This is why it's so important to connect and release in the dense energy. And I was like, I'd say it's the fountain of trust. Well, that's exactly what it is. But seeing yourself in space, in a pod, it doesn't get any more real than that. Does it? Then you understand the importance, right, of your vessel and how much it values you inside. How much do you value yourself? Let's start there. Okay. The more you value yourself inside, the more it gets easier. Right? The more you don't understand the yin and yang process, the more it gets harder. It's just coming into flow. That's all it is, flow. You start here and you work with here, locations, right? You come in position direction. There's so many different forms of yin and yang. Process of communication. Right? But it's got to be balanced inside of you. Inside, you're not bouncing anything outside of your realities. And it's changing structure of your thought locations and security measures and security program setting and perimeters and parameters and all that connections, right? So if you focus on your system, you know exactly what you're doing through calculations. This is going to help you in all ways and forms. This is going to put you in a better projections of yourself. How you see yourself in vision. Okay. How you want to see yourself. Okay. Of its becoming. Is your center of you, of its future system. So you're living all timelines all at once. Right here, right now. Simultaneously. All at once. Okay. So we have a lot to discuss on Zoom, don't we? Yeah. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. All right. Told you there'd be a lot of cosmic interference. Don't know exactly what that is, how things shut off and repound positional case calculations. So it's exactly knowing where you are in your mind adaptation. Are you in your conscious, subtronic line center, subterranean inner rotations, or are you in your subconscious location? You have to stay in you have to at least stay in the subline center so you can higher level its calculation to super its consciousness. So consciousness is just levels of vibration. So it's reaching more levels of you inside through space. And time is the existence of the now. Right? Like I said, I sent you guys that very powerful video on TikTok where Einstein was talking about how time, what is time? Well, it's all about understanding if you close your eyes and that connections, and then all of a sudden you start seeing a form of something. Let's say we go in position of the same directions. All right. We're closing our eyes, know exactly what we need to see. Now we're seeing the sun. You're seeing the directional location to your sun, which is preceding location, right? Now, it's all calculated and modified. You're traveling through the sun, but where are you setting? To its dimensional setting. Okay. So it's trying to understand how you change time, because this location is timeline, center its communication system, right? So it's interesting how I can close my eyes and open my eyes and see myself in always in forms. So I don't just see myself from inside, I see myself from outside, but the outside becomes the inside, which is yin and yang. So you have to get into the light and dark, the balanced position case in all of the system. Okay. So remember that inside and out is outside and in, and inside and out is outside and everything formation locations inside system. So there's a little bit of confusion there. But if you understand the direct locations to your 24 signals and its ground system, then you understand the calculations, right? So traveling through the sun, okay, is basically when you open up your eyes, you see yourself in a former self as you were just a child. That's time. So you're traveling through time, which brings you into the now. So if you understand time, then you understand the existence of its now, which is here. Not there, not over here, here, right now. Okay? So now you understand the existence and how you travel through the mind, through space. Right? This is going to help you in always in forms to really understand that connections. I just want to show you when you close your eyes, you have to focus on my connections. All right. All right. Hope you guys had a wonderful class today. We did a lot today. We're going to get more into mind adaptation line stream. We'll get you in more information locations to your energy light centers and your connections to your pods. We understand that calculations. We have to bring your vibrations line centers up in communication of vibration graphs. Center its line center, get into all position case calculations. All right. Adios.